Emmy-nominated American Morning, CNN, weekdays 6 Eastern.
At any one time, there were probably no more than 10 illegals from the SVR back in the 90s. And the fact that we've had 10 and 11, and 11th is being sought, the potential is quite damaging to
some people out there who shouldn't have been talking to these illegals.
No more than 10 illegals from the SVR.
Some people out there who shouldn't have been talking to these illegals.
More from Tampa in a moment. Also, does this developing now?
30 years. And never did I ever think that we would have some Russian spies here. So it was a big surprise.
I don't know him that much at all. I saw him a couple of times. She was more friendly.
When I talked to them, it sounded like they had a Russian accent. They had a young son and I think also a new baby. Cold War's over, you don't expect to hear Russians being arrested.
Some people out there who shouldn't have been talking to these illegals.
No more than 10 illegals from the SVR. No more than 10 illegals from the SVR.
Some people out there who shouldn't have
We're
been
talking 10 people, as you mentioned, were arrested, including 2 at this Yonkers home behind me. Yonkers, of course, is a suburb of the city. Now, this was all, according to U.S. officials, a part of a deep cover Russian intelligence program in which these defendants were Russian agents whose goal was to become, get this, quote unquote, as Americanized as possible, gathering information about the United States.
Illegals from the SVR. No more than 10 illegals from the SVR.
Some people out there who shouldn't have been talking
They were the
to these
epitome of a
illegals.
suburban couple. One teenager who was interviewed by the New York Times joked, they can't be Russian spies. Look what they did with the hydrangeas.
Right. You know, that just goes to remind our society that, you know, we're not immune to having intelligence officers working against us, living amongst us, as well as the terrorism side of the house. You know, we cannot ignore that these two things take place. And when the wall came down back in the early 90s, everybody said, hey, the KGB's gone. We don't have to worry about Russia anymore. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. And the SVR picked up where the KGB left off. When Putin was in office, it was his goal to return the SVR to the, you know, really just to, you know, bring the KGB's reputation back. And, you know, we can't ignore the fact that that our country is a target for espionage. No matter what the friendly relationships appear to be all over the world, it still takes place. Espionage happens 24/7. No more than 10 illegals from the SVR.
How does this turn out? You've seen it before.
I think what's going to happen is this is the tip of the spear. I think next we're going to possibly see some Americans who are brought in for questioning and possibly arrested. There are some people out there who shouldn't have been talking to these illegals, and I think that we're going to find that the next part of this FBI investigation is going to go after the Americans who were spilling information to these potential and I believe illegal Russian spies.
You're a great guest, Eric. Thanks for making time with us on short notice.
Thank you so much.
Eric O'Neill, my guest out of Washington, D.C. You bet.
Just last year, lawmakers proposed more than 1,500 new immigration laws. It's a very difficult issue, especially when children are American citizens, but their parents are not. Our national correspondent Byron Pitts has one family story as we begin our special series, Immigration Nation.
It's 5 a.m. This woman's 9 months pregnant, an illegal immigrant fearful of deportation. She's dropped off at a South Texas hospital to undergo a C-section. It's a $4,700 procedure that didn't cost her a dime. A healthy 8.5-pound baby boy born in America. His Mexican mother gives him an American name, Elliot. He's one of an estimated 300,000 children of illegal immigrants born in the U.S. every year. They're given instant citizenship, which makes it easier for their parents to become U.S. citizens, because those babies can eventually sponsor their parents when they turn 21. As for Elliot's mother, no longer as fearful of deportation, she tells us her name, Fabiola, and her story.
So your son is an American citizen. What does that mean to you?
I'm glad he was born here. That's why I came here, so my children, my husband, and I could have a better life.
Back in December, when she was 6 months pregnant, Fabiola, her husband, and their 2 daughters, ages 4 and 11, crossed the Rio Grande from Mexico into the U.S. Once across, they walked for 2 hours in search of a better life and free medical care for their unborn child.
Help me understand, do many women in Mexico make the choice to have their children in the United States?
Yes, I know people who have done that. Things are better in the U.S. because they help children so much more.
It's a better life American taxpayers help pay for. Take health care, for example. An estimated $1.1 billion per year for all undocumented men, women, and children. Joe Riley is the CEO